because I might use a meditation at some other point. Hope that's all right with you all. So, I think, some of the reason that one of the reasons that I wanted to do this is because of just the kind of chaos in the collective right now and all all the, what's the word to put it, confusion and sort of just up and down, which is it left? Is it right? Is it up? Is it down? It's like, there's a lot of just confusion. And I wrote about this the other day, and I did a little video about this, about being careful and being aware as humans of how much energy we give to the external world and versus the internal. And, it's normal that we're all kind of trained to focus on what's around us and, you know, have our own experiences or, work with the energy around us or move through the energy around us or integrate the energy around us and then have an experience based on that energy. But what I propose and what I hear in the Akashic Records a lot when I go in is the opposite, which is, what if we were to go to an internal place and create a vibration and connect with, our highest selves and bring about a vibration, which is, a frequency, right? Like waves, and then and affect our external reality instead of the external reality affecting us. How cool would that be? And this is something that, none of us have been really taught how to do. I mean, in fact, I think very few of us have been taught how to do, because it's just not something that anybody ever taught us in school or anything like that. So it's a learning, right? It's a real process of learning and growing into this new sort of way of being. I think I just got kicked off of Facebook. Huh, that's interesting. Maybe there's a message there. Maybe I'm not meant to be on Facebook. It's funny because I always have this battle, even with social media, of like, do I want to even be on social media? But it is, it is helpful to reach people. They're still there. So anyway, I'm going to try to get back on. So yeah, in terms of, the internal versus external vibration, one of the best ways that I know about how to kind of begin even doing that and not letting ourselves be kind of dictated by having our thoughts or our beliefs or even our emotions be affected too much by what's going on around us is quieting the mind, bringing in that, sort of stillness to connect us with our inner being, our highest selves, and then asking for guidance to help us do that, even more. I'm just going, I'm just doing a few things here at once. Okay. And so these are things, I feel like a broken record sometimes because I talk about this a lot. I've talked about it in my book. I've talked about it, in videos, but it's because it just comes up all the time. It always applies, right? And I think sometimes we need to be reminded. I think none of this is new information for a lot of you, but we forget. We just forget. So much of us, many of us have been trained to, I'm obviously you all know what I'm referring to with the political stuff going on, but a lot of us have been trained to just go to the news or the newspaper or to somebody else outside of us, a teacher, a parent, to tell us what to think, what to believe. And it's not our fault, right? That's just part of the training is that we've been trained in that way to allow something outside of ourselves to tell us, what to believe. And when I started quieting meditating a lot more and bringing in light, as I know a lot of you here started doing or doing more, I started opening my third eye and had this awakening, right? And where I was like, I'd listened to some of the things in the news and I would not believe it, which a lot of us are doing more and more, right? We're just like, is that really what happened? Is that really accurate? And that's good. We're starting to be discerning because a lot of it isn't, right? There's a lot of illusions and half truths, and it's almost impossible to know what's really happening. especially when it comes to politics, never mind like world events. That's a whole nother, that's a whole nother topic. But it can, it can be really confusing. And, um, one of the best places to kind of have a quick like reset that I believe is just nature, just going outside, looking at the trees, feeling the energy of the earth, even lying on the earth, and that's immutable, it's real, it's, almost always not, not going away. And we can see it with our eyes and we can feel that really grounding energy, which is so, I think that's going to be more and more what people start to do is, not, yeah, it sounds like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go outside. That feels good, get some fresh air. But no, I'm talking about like really feeling the energy of the earth and the consciousness of the earth and allowing that consciousness to integrate into ours and to feeling that sense of oneness. Um, and that, that sense of oneness that we start to feel with the earth, we then can start to feel with other people, with other humans. And when we start to feel that sense of oneness, well, why would we get so angry at somebody who didn't believe something we believed? Or why would we, hurt somebody? Or just, because with that, ultimately we're hurting ourselves, or ultimately we're judging ourselves, right? Because that we start to understand that we are all connected to this source, the light, to God, right? We are pieces of that, just having different experiences. So I think, you know, it's helpful to be aware that the 3D world, the external world that currently, in the United States, especially, and most Western cultures, or societies, is all about division and separation and competition and pitting people against each other, fueling the emotions of anger, of especially fear, which we saw, especially in the past few years, 4 years specifically. And those emotions are often used to keep us asleep, to keep us in, controlled, essentially. Now, I don't want to go into that too much because that gets to sound a little scary, but I think it's important to be aware of like what's actually happening so we can not allow ourselves to have that happen. So we start to just be like, you know what, I'm just going to question what I'm hearing and really quiet my own mind, go into my own, headspace, connect with light, and just feel into that. What do I feel about something somebody's telling me, or about, how to proceed in, society? I think some of I had said, one of the things that does come up a lot in the Akashic Records is the message to disengage, to remove our energy from that sort of 3D crumbling world of all the things, um, but it's not always possible to completely disengage. Of course, there's sometimes things that happen, policies that get passed or laws or whatnot that do affect us. They can have an impact on our lives. Um, so, and yet, if that's the case, so we can't, it's not always possible to completely disengage. Although ideally we would remove our energy from those places and put it on expanding our consciousness, that, I was just talking about, moving into the 5D sort of way of oneness and unity and unconditional love for ourselves and others. But when we do find ourselves like, well, there's something happening, there's maybe something that's affecting me, and in that 3D sort of external world, almost always then there's a lesson to be learned, right? A soul lesson, like, okay, this is what am I supposed to be learning here? Moving through the emotions. And it's all about, our own self-actualization and our own becoming our highest and best selves. When we can do that, when we move past limiting beliefs, loving ourselves unconditionally, forgiving ourselves, knowing that we're enough, when we can really feel that and embody that. And actually, I did this podcast interview the other day, and somebody said, how long do you think that takes for somebody to do that? Because like I do this work with people individually a lot. And I said, a lifetime, it takes a lifetime. Because, I always joke about it. Like if once we were done with that, I'd be like, if I'm done, I'd just probably drop dead tomorrow, because I would no longer, like, I would be finished with my soul contract here on earth. As long as but I'm here and we're all here to move through, learn lessons, to break past life patterns, right? I will say though, it does get easier. And I was like, okay, I know what you're really asking me. You're asking me how long it takes to like really do this deep inner work. And I said, I'd say the shift happens around 6 to 9 months. I would say something like sometimes it's a few years, of like where you're like, okay, I see what I'm doing. I'm doing my soul work, and now I'm going to just it's just a matter of keep doing it. So that's kind of where I'm at. It took me about that long to kind of move through a lot of patterns. And of course, I still have stuff that, comes up, but it's often like repeating things like, oh, here's that lesson again. Yeah. All right. I'm going to work on that again. So anyway, so we're going to do a meditation in a few minutes about connecting with, a spirit guide. And the reason I want to do that is because anytime when I do individual work with people, and I do a lot of Akashic Records readings, as a lot of you know, which is a wonderful way to connect with that spirit guidance, but to really like clear the stuff away, it often takes going deeper and getting into the subconscious mind. And as a lot of you also know, I'm a hypnotherapist, and that's the way that I know to help people clear what's in the subconscious mind, is to do hypnotherapy and go in and kind of reprogram that to clear it from using metaphors, using images, with relaxation in specific words. You kind of help the conscious mind go take a nap and like be pushed aside. So then suggestions, like the words that the hypnotherapist says, are received by the subconscious mind. So we got to, in order to receive those suggestions, the conscious mind has to be set aside, if that makes sense. So there's many ways, there's a lot of different modalities out there. Like there's plant medicine, there's psychedelics that has sort of the same effect, right, of moving the conscious mind aside. But the reason, when I was asked that question of how long does it take, I'm like, well, that's about how long, it takes time to kind of reprogram the subconscious mind and to bring about new beliefs, and then that leads to new thoughts. So if you're still feeling stuck, like you've tried a lot of different things and there's still these beliefs coming up, I would encourage you to look into hypnotherapy, whether it's with me or somebody else. It's very, very powerful way to kind of, believe that, create that internal vibration. Like I was saying before, I personally get hypnotherapy myself. And when I was first starting my business, I received it to develop confidence, because I just didn't think I could do this. And so I wanted, I wanted some help to really believe that I could do this. And when we believe something about ourselves, right, we give off that vibration, and then it starts to attract others of that similar vibration. So it's all about vibration. And so really that's what hypnotherapy is doing. Back to my original point, though, about the spirit guide. Whenever I do hypnotherapy with people, I almost always bring in a spirit guide, because the spirit guide helps that person feel safe. It helps them. Sometimes I often do regressions, inner child past life regressions, where the person's talking, or guided imagery where they're actually talking about what they're seeing and what they're experiencing. A very powerful way to get information from the subconscious mind that's really, coming from our higher self, from our souls. And in order to get that information, though, it's the spirit guide can help to kind of, help us bring in that unconditional love and safety. And so some of you who, if you may not know about this, we all have at least one, definitely a group of spirit guides. We generally have one primary spirit guide who's with us for most of our lives. Sometimes it changes, the one who's with us depending on what lessons we're working on. But these are people who often were human. So they're not just light beings. Spirit guides they were human. We may have had a past life with them, and now they've kind of moved up a level. Yes, that sounds weird, but that is how I believe it is in the spirit realm, to be able to kind of help us along our path. Some of us here will probably end up being spirit guides for others. Maybe we are already at some level, right? Just in another incarnation. Anyway, so connecting with a spirit guide and just having an awareness of who they are. Often they're wearing long robes. My primary spirit guide has long, dark hair, very beautiful, long robes. Some people see their spirit guides as like monks or Native Americans, or sometimes they just look like a regular person, and their names can be something very interesting, or sometimes they give us a name that may be a name like Bob, or you know, Anne, or something like that. Sounds like a pretty normal name that we would hear, but that's the way they might have a different name in the spirit realm that could be even one that we don't know how to pronounce, but they just tell us that just so, as a way of what we can call them. So, but spirit guides can really help us in our daily lives, just giving us little nudges. They're always sending us, the thoughts we have, often those kind, loving thoughts are from your spirit guide, if not your own higher self. Angels are a little different, right? Angels are light beings, pure light, never been human, different energy. But spirit guides are often just with us a lot, and but they're not always they can't do the work for us, right? They're just giving us counseling because we're here to learn our own lessons. Um, so when I do hypnotherapy, I almost always invite in a spirit guide to help the person just feel safe and to bring in those loving messages. So that's what we're going to do this evening. Some of you have any of you ever connected with a spirit guide? Some of you who I can see here. Yeah, you have? No? Okay, cool. Well, then hopefully this will be an interesting experience. Some of you, because this is a meditation, you may or may not like get a real sense of them. Normally if you're not an experienced meditator, or you're not used to going to altered states of consciousness, sort of like meditation, you might pick up on it, might not come in as clear. But going into like longer meditations, definitely hypnotherapy, almost always, when you go deeper and it takes longer, the spirit guide can come up a little easier. But don't give up, even if it's like kind of fuzzy this evening, keep trying, right? So, because it can take time, right, for them to come in, and sometimes they'll show up in dreams or just give you messages in your waking life. So before I do that, real quick, though, I want to just share a little bit about something that I'm offering in a few weeks, which is a hypnotherapy certification program where I'm teaching people to become hypnotherapists. So, actually guiding people and doing I'm teaching people to do what I do, to do past life regressions, to do inner child regressions, to learn how to what to say to people to help them go in a deep, relaxed state. The voice to have, because it does take practice to have like that hypnotherapy voice. Actually, one of my hypnotherapy teachers said once, you could just literally say blah, 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 and like take somebody into a deep, relaxed state. I think the words do matter, but to some people, it's just the tone of the voice, right? And the way you say it. So anyway, if you're curious about it, even if you don't have your own business already, which some people might, they want to add hypnotherapy, but even if you don't, it's a really powerful modality to learn to really help people in a way that's not just temporary. It's not just a Band-Aid, it's permanent, and it can take longer, but it's generally a permanent way to create deep change for people in terms of new beliefs. I'm such a fan. And so part of my, mission in life is to really teach people about the power of hypnotherapy and debunk sort of the gimmicky stage hypnosis things that a lot of us have heard about. I certainly heard about that, but so if you're curious and want to learn more and learn this and experience it yourself through this program, it starts early September. The early bird rate is good through next week. Feel free to reach out to me if you have questions. I'll put a link in, and just share the link for those of you who are interested. And if you're not, then just enjoy the meditation. Or if you're curious about hypnotherapy, of course, that is also always an option, just to receive it, right? And just see what it feels like. I do that, of course, all the time. So anyway, I'm going to just put this here in the chat on Zoom, and then I'll put it on Facebook as well. So let's see, let's do a meditation, shall we, to see what happens with our spirit guide. Okay, so let's hopefully you're in a quiet place wherever you are, as we're going to begin to just connect in. So you can just get comfortable. Well, maybe I don't need the mic, I'll just leave it right there. And close your eyes. And just begin to take a few deep breaths in, slow exhales out. See if you can breathe into your belly first. Allow a wave of air to go up into your heart and lungs. Pause here and then slowly, slowly exhale. Let the belly sink in. Let the shoulders drop. As you exhale, breathe in again to your belly. Bring in a wave of air, opening up in the chest. Hold and really expand and open. Slowly exhaling any worry, any tension, any stuff that you can release in this moment. Just let it flow out through your nose and mouth. And just settle into a natural flow of breath. Just observing what's happening in your body, letting yourself begin to just unwind. You may become aware of what's happening in your body, feeling the breath flowing in and flowing out, feeling the expansion in the belly and in the upper body and the chest. And then as the breath flows out, the belly sinks in, the chest sinks in. Let's see if you can bring your awareness to this flow. See if you can allow any thoughts to just settle, just like the rain that we've been having, thankfully, here in Maine. Imagining those thoughts are just being dropped on the ground and soaked into the earth. It's letting them become one once again with Gaia, with the planet. And imagining your mind is clear and open, like the air, so expansive. And as your body begins to relax, see if you can intentionally just allow yourself to relax even more, knowing your own mind is very powerful. And just saying, I want to relax, will help your body respond in kind. Your cells are listening. So setting that as a desire, as an intention, I want to relax. I am relaxing. I'm experiencing peace and calm, and that feels so good. Just notice how your muscles soften a little more, how your breath slows a little more. And I'd like you to begin now bringing your awareness, if you are willing, to your left hand, just focusing in on your left hand, shifting all your awareness to that part of your body, feeling the weight of your hand, maybe on your clothes or on whatever surface it's on. Feeling the blood pumping through the veins, the skin. Maybe even having gratitude for your arm and your hand, all it does for you. You may want to see what would happen if you were to intentionally let go even more in that hand. Would it feel heavier? Or what would happen? And as you're doing this, you may become aware that your right hand and right arm feel much lighter now than your left. And you may be curious to find out what would happen if you were to switch your awareness, moving from one side of your body to the other, and focus your awareness on the right hand and the right arm. Now shifting, just moving that focus gradually over to the right side of your body, doing the same thing now with the right hand. Feeling the weight of your bones, of your muscles on your body, or wherever it's lying on your right hand. Letting your arm rest, letting your hand rest. You may notice that both your hands are feeling heavier, or maybe there's just a feeling of balance, even distribution of weight between both hands. You can even explore what would happen if you were to shift your focus from one side to another. Would it change the weight? Or maybe rather than just be perfectly aligned and perfectly balanced. And as you do this, you may want to now focus on a point on your body, any point you like. It could be your heart, your belly, it could be your chest, or some other place, to form a nice triangle with your hands, just focusing on any point in your body. And see if you can connect the 3 points somehow, just with your awareness. Trinity, sacred geometry of the triangle. And allowing now that awareness in your body, that feeling of peace and oneness, to begin to flow through every part of your body, through every muscle, through your back, through your shoulders, your neck, every muscle in the face, flowing down through the spine, down through the legs, just letting everything be soft, even your feet, everything heavy, just melting into this peaceful relaxation. And on the next breath, I'd like you to imagine you're breathing in light. And the light you may find wants to travel through your body and just begin to cleanse and heal and clear out your body. You can allow it to do that. This is healing light. This is divine light. And as it moves, I'd like you to imagine, if you will, that the light is flowing out through your heart. It's spilling out your heart as if it's forming a path of light in front of you. A beautiful golden path filled with light. In a beautiful place in nature, somewhere that you find very peaceful and healing. And you can imagine now that you're taking a few steps forward on this path, filled with light, filled with unconditional love, in this beautiful place, in a field or the woods, or maybe it's by the ocean or some body of water, or somewhere else. But up ahead on this path, immersed in this golden light, this misty, magical light, you're aware of a figure, who is waiting for you. A loving being, an inner advisor, like a wise friend who knows everything about you, who has pure unconditional love for you, and who is here to help you connect with them. So just getting closer to this wise friend. And just, you can begin maybe to connect or open to their energy. What do they feel like? They know everything about you. They have pure compassion and empathy for all that you are. As you get closer, walking, you may feel their love for you. You may be able to make out how they look, what they're wearing, maybe their hair, if they're male or female, or somewhere in between. How old they seem to you. Feeling your heart opening to this wise guide, pure love. And if you're not aware of this inner guide, just imagine if I were to have a guide with me, what might they feel like? Maybe there's a color that you're aware of, just opening, setting the ego mind aside, allowing yourself to pretend you're making it up. Yes, it's okay to feel you're making it up. I want to see this wise guide. I want to connect, focusing on that intention. And if you are connecting, take a moment just to thank them for being here and sharing anything you'd like to share with them, what's on your mind, any concern you have about something in your life right now. Just sharing as if you're talking to an old friend and maybe asking a question. How can I move through this? What can I do to heal? Or any question you like. Just take a moment here, just sharing and connecting. And noticing what floats in as an answer, word, feeling, image, just allowing yourself to ask and just receive. So just giving thanks for whatever you've received here. If you'd like, you can ask for their name, and knowing you may pick up on the first letter or the sound, just asking by what should I call you? What can I call you? And notice what comes in. And you may even want to ask, how can I connect with you in my waking life? What can I do to connect with you? And so notice what comes up as you ask that question. And taking a deep breath in and slow exhale out, just beginning to give thanks, thanking this loving being for being here, for being with you, for all their wisdom and guidance in your life. Knowing that now you have this connection, they will always be with you. And now you can call upon them anytime you choose. Just ask. Sometimes we forget to just ask. Maybe they'll send you signs, send you people, send you thoughts. And even asking for the awareness to become aware of the signs and to notice them and to act upon them. And so you can begin to say goodbye, knowing you'll always be connected to them, just taking leave, walking back on the path of light, turning back into your heart, moving back into your body, and allowing that light to come a little bit closer to you, wrapping you in light. You can even hug yourself, touch the top of your head physically, and just bring the energy in a little bit closer, just sealing it in, wrapping yourself in a nice warm blanket. Bringing the energies back in, bringing your awareness back into your body, and just coming back more into consciousness, beginning to stretch out, like your eyes have been cleansed in cool, clear, refreshing water, just feeling more back in the room, just excited for what you picked up on here today, knowing you can now set an intention to act upon this, whatever guidance came up, or to keep connecting with your guide, knowing that this is always here for you, this infinite source of wisdom and love in your life to guide you in any area. Taking another deep breath now and stretching out even more fully, moving your hands and feet. Coming back into full energy, your full energetic self, feeling all your chakras balanced and cleansed. And then whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes and come back into this space. And drink some water if you haven't already. I have mint in my water, and sometimes I like eat mint leaves. I'm doing a juice cleanse for the next few days. And I'm really glad I was able to do that with you all, because when we do sort of like fasting like that, it's a really wonderful way to actually open our consciousness. Not that, fasting within reason, right? I'm only doing this for a few days, not for that much longer, but it can bring us into these, this higher state. So yeah, I did end up doing a little bit of hypnosis for you guys. I hope you don't mind. I kind of was like, oh, try to show them something a little bit different with the focus on your hands and the part of your body. I don't know. I'm curious if anybody wants to share what that was like, because it didn't, it was short, so it may not have taken you like as deep. I usually do longer sort of things, but that sort of triangle, that it can be a really powerful way to just, let go of the conscious mind. And I wanted you all to have a way to, meet your guide. So if anybody wants to ask any question, or even type in the chat if you don't want to, that's a nice way to ask or share, or type in the comments. Sometimes I don't see the comments on Facebook. They don't always show up, but I'm curious if any of you that I can see here on Zoom were able to meet a guide. Yes, no, maybe. Just raise your hand.
I did.
Yes?
It's been interesting for me. I just kind of took up painting with watercolor,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of times I go really deep into it. And I've been feeling like it's definitely divinely guided, if you will. Um, and sometimes I lose hours of
Wow, yeah.
time. And I come to and I'm like hungry and my back hurts and I got to go to the
Mhm.
bathroom um, and I didn't know I was going to do this until I started, but I'm kind of sitting at my painting desk while I'm listening. So I decided
Yeah.
to paint while I did this.
Oh, cool.
So it was a bit of an active meditation for me, but
Hmm.
it's always meditative for me to do this. So um, I kind of asked uh, to meet who is guiding me. Um, and someone did show up. And, I always think of, just imagining this person and a name
Mhm.
came up. Her name was Sabrina. Um,
Wow, beautiful.
so, and I asked her if that was the name, her real name, or if that was just the name she was giving me. And she said that was just the name she was giving me, that
Yeah.
she did have another name.
Hmm.
But so that'll be interesting going forward as I paint. I feel like I have a little more of a connection
Yeah.
to what's going on with me there. So maybe I can get some more insight. But
Yeah.
yeah,
That's
thought
so
I'd share
cool,
that with you guys.
Nancy. Yeah, thank you for sharing. I love that. Painting is such, I mean, that's a way to go in a different state part of your mind. So that's really cool. I'm so glad you got that connection.
Yeah, thanks.
Beautiful. Wow. I'm kind of actually interested in that because I haven't heard of people doing that, like with painting, like you're still, doing something, but I think that's really, really cool that you could do that. Anyone else want to ask anything or share anything before we wrap up here? It's totally fine if not, because, it's like being on the spot. Um, but yeah, I mean, this is, I actually might save that meditation because I haven't done a spirit guide meditation in a while and post it on my little meditation podcast. So if you want to listen to it again, it'll be up at some point. I'll probably put it on YouTube first, and then I have to edit it down to put it in the on the podcast. But yeah, I mean that just keep trying. If for those of you who maybe got a little connection, but maybe you wanted more, or maybe you didn't get anything, or whatever happened, just know you can keep going back and keep asking and um, you know connecting. Just really asking, I would say, is really important. They really, that's our free will, is asking for them to be with us and asking for our spirit guides to make themselves known to us. That's part of our choice and the divine law of free will, which is when we want, right? Because if we don't want them to communicate, if we don't want some form of spirit to communicate, then we want to have the ability to say no, which we do have. Um, so sometimes it's just a matter of asking and then opening ourselves to receive through meditation, right? That's the best way that I know of, at least, or different altered states of consciousness too. But so yeah, thank you all for being here with me. I'm trying to end on time. Like I think I said, this was going to be 45 minutes, and it's been a little over 45 minutes. So I won't keep you all here, but many blessings. If you want to check out hypnotherapy and go deeper and clear some stuff, you know where to find me. If you want to check out that program, you know where to find me. If you want to actually offer this, probably a minority of people will be interested in that, but you never know. All right. Have a nice evening. Thank you all. Many blessings.
Thank you,
Bye.
Rachel.